All right, guys, today is Friday, February 4th, 2022. Today marks 13 days I have left. Looking pretty bleak at this point. Anyway, so I posted a video this morning doing the package tray on the car. I actually posted the video pretty late last night, but it ended up having I had put two clips together, the same clip like over another one in it. So you see me do the same thing twice. So I ended up having to go back and re-edit it and then re-upload it. Anyway, I got the package tray done. I went in and I started on fabbing up the new side panels for the rear. I found out that my wooden panels that I cut out and made, which are right here, these will not work on a hard top in the back. The top actually has to curve at the top to go underneath the garnish molding that goes up there. So this wood wouldn't curve. So this wood's pretty stiff. But anyway, I got to disassembling one of the factory side panels, and that's when I noticed that it had a curve on it. Of course, I thought it was warped, and then I test fit it and found that out. But anyway, so luckily I had a sheet of the factory style replacement cardboard here from the upholstery supply. Anyway, so I ended up cutting out the rear side panels. I think the door panels will be fine, but rear side panels I definitely had to remake. But anyway, so I started working on this one last night after the package tray was done, but I ended up learning something by a mistake, which is usually how I learn something. So I used, what did I do with it? Right here. I use this stuff right here, vinyl cement, and what I was trying to do was put, because I don't have a sewing machine to do this, I don't like spray gluing my material to the foam. I like the material just to kind of lay on there. That way it doesn't get all wrinkly and, you know, cellulite looking. So what I did was I used masking tape pieces. I had another one, but I ruined it, so I threw it away. I'll have to make another one. Anyway, I left me a 1/4 inch gap there with tape on this side and tape on this side. Left a 1/4 inch spot right there with the foam visible. And I ended up using my spray glue on the gray, and I pretty much just shot it straight where it was a long skinny fan, and just pretty much followed it down through there. And then I shot the edge of the gray straw cloth material here, and then I just laid it up there and stuck it to it, rubbed on it a little bit, and then I let it dry. So at that point it was stuck. So I ended up, spray gluing the back and pulling it around and all that. Anyway, so I took some actual remnants from when I did the package tray. I had just enough to do one upper panel here. So I do have more of this on a roll. I have an extra yardage of this black Alante, but if I've got a piece that'll work from a remnant, I'm going to use that to try to save some of that other stuff, just in case I have to repair a panel later, down the road or something. But anyway, so I was trying to figure out where to actually cut that. So I ended up removing both pieces off the original, and I cut it right where the stainless trim goes on here. This is it right here. So anyway, I ended up cutting it right in the middle of those holes. So this is my perfect template to draw out this material to cut it to where it fits together. So anyway, now what I did on the vinyl, it took me quite a while to do it because it's, basically I'm trial and error in it here. But anyway, I spray glued the top of the gray on, and then I got it all wrapped up, and then I laid my tape pieces back on here, and I did again 1/4 inch because the glue was already dry before I could do the Alante, by the time I got this done. So anyway, I done 1/4 inch again, and I let a little bit of the gray get a little bit of glue on the edge of it. And anyway, I cut out the piece of Alante, the black vinyl here, and I basically overlapped it just a little bit. And up here, what I did, because that trim doesn't go all the way to the end of the panel, there's a little bit of that going to be visible, and the same in the back. So what I ended up doing was cutting a piece a little bit longer, and I spray glued it together and used some duckbill pliers and pinched it together. So when it is folded around, it has a nice rolled little tight edge there. Because I don't have a sewing machine, I can't stitch this together, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I ended up using this because I'm assuming this stuff is going to be some really good sticking stuff. So it has a little brush on it. So I ended up brushing down in there with it, and then I brushed it on the back of the vinyl edge here as well. So when I put it on there, it was basically going to contact itself. Well, it blistered the material. It literally like made blisters. It was worse last night while it was still wet. But anyway, it made a big long blister right here where I got a little wide with the brush. So it ruined it. The trim wouldn't cover it. It was fried. So what the glue did was basically made a hard, chunky piece on there. So there's, I'm not going to be able to do much with it because it won't stretch anymore at that point. It's pretty much glued, stuck together on the back. It's got a hard backing now in that spot. But boy, I was bummed out. So I ended up peeling it off there. I was mad and I threw it in the floor and I was done. I went to bed last night. So, which it was like 1 o'clock in the morning anyway. So it was time to go to bed. You know what I mean? So anyway, I come out this morning and I went through my remnants again. I got some remnants in the trunk and nothing was big enough to fit that. So I grabbed this piece back off the floor and I actually cut it so wide, I think that I can actually, go like 1/4 inch above or 3/8 of an inch above where this glue is. And I still think I'll have enough to peel around on the back side. So I'm going to try to still use this to save some of my Alante. But man, what a mess, I tell you. It really made me mad, but I learned that, this stuff here does not work on Alante too well. It will blister it. But anyway, it should look pretty cool. I've got 1/4 inch foam on here, and what I did on the front, I did something here. I actually pulled that foam around on the back side here. You can't really tell it there because I pulled it so tight, but it has a little bit of a thickness there to it. Now the reason I did this is because the factory one, which still has the upholstery on it, when you look at this is an original from my car. It's still in pretty good shape for its age. You can see staples right here. So this actually has a folded edge for when you put it up there, you staple that into your windlace tack strip, and then you basically just fold the panel back like that. And so it has a folded edge on it like that. That's about now the same thickness as that. I don't want to use tack nails. I want the panel to clip on like a late model car has. So what I ended up doing was I used some steel clips here, just door panel clips. And anyway, I've got a screw back here. I'm going to put a trim screw in the very back to screw it to the body. I probably should have went ahead and did a hole and did another clip, but anyway, I basically done that so I could hold the panel up there to figure out where this needed to go. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave the screw. Now when the rear seat side goes in, the back goes in, you don't really see a lot of the back of this, so you won't see that trim screw. But up here, it's a hidden fastener, and it's just one clip. Now this contours the car pretty well right there because I pre-bent that on a piece of a round pipe, and I got my curve pretty much in there. So let me get up in here and I'll show you. This is the clips I'm using. They're kind of funky because you got to have an offset hole the way they're designed, the way you put a hole in your trim panel, your door panel, and then the holes actually offset a little bit. So I had to build a template for it right there. So that's my marker hole, but I drilled a hole right there, and I've got my windlace pretty much just sitting up here. It's not cut and installed yet. I did actually have to replace some of my tack strips here. I just did it with some plywood. Anyway, I had to get this figured out where this goes. These are pre-sewn from Ciadello as well in the matching black Alante. Anyway, they come with this metal panel on here, and I drilled 2 new holes and screwed those on. But all right, so I re-trimmed the bottom of this to where it'll meet up to the gray to overlap just a hair. So what I've done is I got my tape piece from last night, and basically I cut just this part right here just a little bit longer, and I'm going to spray glue this, and then when it tacks up I'm just going to fold it and then use my flat jaw duck pliers to basically keep squishing it back and forth so it gets nice and flat. So anyway, I've got to do this long piece here. And anyway, this one's always the hardest. That was the hardest to do last night when I did it. But anyway, so I'm going to get started here. Might as well get the piece made for that. De-tack it here. I don't want it sticking really good to that backside of that vinyl. Got that a little bit wonky. So using them flat jaw pliers, smashing that like that, I don't know if you can see that in the camera from over there, that is paper thin now. So that works pretty nice. All right, I get to do this side. Now this one's not any fun. This one is, it's kind of long, and last night I had it a little bit on the wavy side. Fortunately, you know, some of that is covered up by the rear seat, so it's not a super big deal, but when you're trying to do this stuff, you know, to make it turn out really nice, it's kind of tough to do sometimes. Let it tack up a minute. Man, I got to tell you, being pretty much 50 years old, I find it harder these days to have any energy like I used to. Man, it is pretty bad. So I found these things. This is not an advertisement, by the way. I had to buy these. Anyway, it's called Sparkling Ice Caffeine, and it's 0 sugar. And these have caffeine in them, so it's kind of like an energy drink, except without all the tons of sugar and crap in it. But it has a good flavor, but they're $1.25 at Walmart, which is awesome because an energy drink's like $2 to $3 for one. So, all right, here we go. Let's make a warped up wavy mess here. Again, I am not a professional upholsterer. Not. I wish I was, but I am not. It's always been, for me, when I build a car, you know, I've never had a ton of money to build a car. You don't have to be a rich guy to build a car. If you do everything yourself, or as much as you can yourself, you know, you can save a lot of money, obviously. And there's the only way to try to do stuff yourself, you have to try. You have to jump in and go for it. So I've been around it quite a bit. My mom used to do a little bit of upholstery work, and she's actually done quite a few things for me, her and my dad, but through the years anyway. But I learned lots of little tips and tricks from her. But I've also got, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 books on upholstery. Not that I've read every one of them, but yeah, this one actually turned out better than the one last night for being straight. That's pretty awesome. I'll take that. That actually turned out really nice. So the reason I'm doing these longer videos on this is because, you know, some of you guys, if you're planning on doing this stuff yourself, I cut my finger somewhere. If you're planning on doing this stuff yourself, maybe there's something I can show you here that if it worked for me, maybe it'll work for you, you know what I mean? I can tell you one thing for sure. The way I've always done it, it's a heck of a lot cheaper to take your seats, to have them reupholstered somewhere at a shop, or that's what I used to do. Nowadays you can buy, you know, reproduction seat covers. You can even, C&L will even custom make them for you, like change the materials or do what you ever want to do, because they have the patterns for the seats. The original seats. But I used to always have to do my package tray, door panels, kick panels, all that stuff myself, but the upholstery shop, I'd have them order the extra material and just do all that stuff myself to save money. But anyway, with this car and the last couple of G-bodies I've done and my old C10 project, it was pre-made seat covers. It's just easier. Because, I mean, the reality is, when you look in the reproduction catalogs for a complete interior kit for like a 55 Chevy hardtop, the door panels are $700 or $800 for the door panels set, and it's the same price for the front and rear seat covers. Then you got to buy I think you might be able to buy a kit, you might save a little money there, but I think it's pretty crazy, man. That's a little bit too much money for door panels, in my opinion. You know, seat covers are going to take 10 times longer to make, and door panels I don't think take as much time, but anyway. All right, let's see what happens here. I'm going to show you here why I'm doing these tight rolled ends. Okay, so when I put my stainless trim on here, I'm not going to fasten it all the way, I'm just going to show you. So that trim doesn't go all the way to the end of that panel right there. So with this, you know, I've rolled that up to about in here somewhere. So it comes out with a rolled edge. Instead of just being cut straight, you'd have this white, you know, material showing. So that tight fold, when I fold this around there, it's going to look more finished. So the back is what sucks because the trim stops right here. You got all this left, so I folded that whole edge, and when I pull that around, it'll just look a little bit more finished. But this trim will technically help tension set this, you know, because it's 1/4 inch foam, so that's going to sink in a little bit and give it a nice, you know, look, pressed in look. But anyway, I love it. I think it's gonna end up being pretty cool. And I'll have to do the other, you know, panel just like this one, and I'm gonna have to do the door panels the same way, and it kind of sucks, but I'm saving money because I'm doing it myself. You know what I mean? I can tell you, nothing beats doing it yourself. Nothing. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the camera off and get this rolling a little bit more. All right, as you can see, I got tape here. What I did was I took the trim piece and stuck it in there before I taped it, and I took a fine tip Sharpie and I drew along the edge of the trim so I would know where to put my tape line, because I don't really want any glue up further on that because it might create a little bump in the vinyl again. So anyway, let's get started. And I forgot to tape this. Dang it. That will probably set up on me before I can get anything done here. Maybe. Got ahead of myself. Okay, I'm going to hit. Well, I hate to do that on that. Oh well, it'll be fine. Boy, if that ain't tedious work, let me tell you. I already messed up that piece. Been trying to save some of that so I didn't use up a bunch of my tape, but okay. Tape on, or a little bit of glue on that edge, but it's like rolling off of it. which makes it kind of nice. Dang it. All right, I'm gonna let that dry a little bit, and then at that point, I can go ahead and flip it over, spray glue the edges. Of course, I'll have to do some relief cuts, you know, and then I can wrap it around on the back side, and then at that point, I will take this pick, and I will use a propane torch, set it on the counter with it on, heat that up, and from the back side, I will poke through the holes for the stainless trim. It's pretty much right on the edge, but I don't want to have that stick in the edge of that vinyl and pull it. So that will basically melt through that and create a nice hard hole to keep it from fraying out later. It kind of melts, you know, around it, so it'll keep fraying down. But I think it's going to end up looking pretty good, guys. All right, I'll let that glue set up a little bit. So now it's time to do this part. Okay. Oh man. And my little trash box is getting full. Not too worried about the edge. That's why I didn't 45 the foam with my grinder on any of this, because this part goes under the garnish molding. This lower section's underneath the rear armrest. The only thing really visible is this, and this back here is behind the back of the seat, so really the only part that's going to be visible is right here. That's why I doubled the foam up, rolled the foam under that first. So anyway, this should look pretty nice. Should. I might staple that just to be on the safe side. I'm not sure. That cardboard's not as thick as that package tray, so I don't know if my 1/4-inch staples would work. I need some 1/8 inch. That's always something I can put in later. So the ice and snow is melting outside, which is kind of nice. I actually drove up here to the gas station a while ago, so wasn't too bad. All right, so here it is. That is not too bad for a 2-car garage, man, let me tell you. I'm pretty happy with that. This right here is kind of a problem. Up the cardboard. That didn't go through. Well, there's a phone number I don't know. Well, I wonder if my warranty's out on my 55 Chevy. That's usually the consensus is your extended warranty has expired. I'd love to get a hold of some of them people in person. That is just not cool. All right. Thank goodness that thing has got some pretty much hidden all the way around except the very front, so I don't have to worry about how perfect it is around it. So now let's stink up the joint. Have I mentioned I'm not a professional upholsterer? Woo, boy, that stinks. Carterizing it, man. If it worked for Rambo, it worked for me. Okay. Now let's put on the beauty thing. Ooh, I need to cut out for that. Let me do that first. Cut out for the window crank. Something with a longer reach on it. Well, if you guys caught some of my older videos, I mean, not real old, you know, within I don't know, a month or so, it seems like, I was showing pictures on my phone of cars my brother found on his propane route. He fills propane tanks. He's actually getting a different route that is bigger, like more stuff. So probably going to be seeing some more pictures. Did I melt that one? I did not. Missed one. I can't even see it. I hope that's in the right spot. All right. This is what I'm looking forward to the most, is putting the pretty on here. This is when it all comes together. This will be my first door panel on the hardtop here. Or not really a door panel, but a rear side panel. Look at that. That is beautiful. My hole's not so beautiful, but it'll work. Well, that kind of sucks. Well, I guess I'd go ahead and lock this down, because I think it's pretty much done. Do I have any spray glue on there? That's good. Ooh. Already sanded and polished that. One of these had a little ding and a crease in it. I had to spend the time working it out of there, but I definitely don't want to do that again. Well, let's see. I do plan on doing a video soon on stainless steel trim sand and polish for the budget guys, because if you've ever seen professionals polish stainless steel, man, they go through lots and lots of steps. But I never have really taken them fully that way. I actually did one or two pieces to this car like a year ago. I went through a couple different buffing wheels, different rouges, and worked my way all up. And then I did it my old school way with just one rouge and one wheel, and it looks the same. So I'm not going to go through all that trouble if, you know, it's not really worth it. Don't see that noticeable of a difference anyway. All right, there it is. I love how that trim kind of sunk that material in down there. That looks really good, man. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. You know, to spend that kind of time and do that kind of detail-oriented work on that, to have an outcome like that is really awesome. I love it, man. I love it. Well, let's see. Let's give it the old signature, shall we? I'm proud of it, guys. I really am. That was it took a lot of time, but man, I tell you what, to do that myself right here in the garage. And this is what the funniest thing is. Now, if you don't think this is redneck, this is actually an interior door from my house to my spare bedroom where I store all the 55 parts. I had to take it off the hinges just to use it for a workbench. It's just 3 pins you knock out, you know, and then it has 2 screws for the handle, so I pulled the handle off so it wouldn't have something sticking up there. But now that's redneck. So I don't think I'm gonna lock this in, but I will climb in here and stick it up there so you can see it. There's that. Man, I love that black and gray. That is cool, man. It's kind of funny, if you buy the reproduction interior, it doesn't come with a gray straw cloth on the door panels. It only comes with that on the seats. Originally, it was vinyl upper and lower on the door panels. Kind of strange, huh?